But yeah, just thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me. I just think it's really important to see people like us making moves so others know that it's possible.
For sure.
And one of the places that is on everyone's list is Barbados because of Mia Motley's genius move with a
Yeah,
digital nomad visa. Um,
exactly.
so yeah, you were like literally my first person from Barbados, and you really should have been my first. But anyway, we made it. But tell me
Glad
what,
to be here.
yeah, so just so people know, what's your connection to Barbados?
So my mom is Bajan. My dad's Nigerian. I grew up in Toronto. Um, but my mom made sure I was coming back and forth my whole life. My grandma had 11 kids, and all the kids have kids, so it's just a strong connection, family, and that kind of stuff. So I have a whole lot of family. I have more family here than I do have in Toronto. So that's one of the reasons that I was like, no, I need to come there and mainly introduce my son to the same lifestyle that I had growing up. So that was primary reason.
Yeah, how old is
One
your
of many.
son?
He is 8.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, for me, it was funny. As a kid, I didn't like Grenada at all. But once I had a son, I was like, okay, you got to know this place. Like, you have
Yeah,
to.
exactly.
Especially from a small island that isn't necessarily on everyone's radar. You really have to kind of build that into their psyche
Yeah.
and soul.
He told me the other day, he was like, I'm gonna raise my kids in Barbados. I was like, first of all, stop. You're 8.
Oh,
But yeah, I agree with you totally. I had that same growing up. I was like, do we have to go? I don't want to, my friends. And I look back, I'm like, Jessica, you should have done better, sis.
yeah. Okay. And so growing up as a kid in Canada, did you ever think about settling in Barbados? And what was it that made you decide to do it now, aside from your son? Like, what is it about Barbados that pulled you there? Because you could have gone to Nigeria. I mean, the situation now in Nigeria, probably
Yeah.
not. But there's lots of opportunity in Nigeria as well. So why Barbados?
As a kid, I never thought about like I'm gonna retire there. Not really in my childhood years. It's only in my adulthood. I would definitely say like 2016, 2017. And whenever people ask me why, it's so hard to explain. I just tell people, listen, Barbados is a vibe, period. That's my go-to response. It's like the people are incredibly friendly, the hospitality, it's the island, the water, there's so much to love. And obviously every island has so much to offer. But if I put family aside, it's just all I can summarize it is just it's a vibe. I don't, you know what I mean? Especially coming from the big city where people don't say good morning and good night, or you don't even know your neighbors. You know, my neighbors gave me eggs the other day, and I was talking to a friend in Toronto, and she was like, "People still ask their neighbor for stuff," and I'm like, "Girl, in the island we do, right?" So I
Yeah.
don't know, Barbados has so much to offer, but I think the people is one of the main reasons that make it great, and that's what keeps me coming back. It's the connections outside of family, friends, and people that I've met on the road, people I can meet at the beach. You know what I mean? Everyone's always willing to help or talk or just be of assistance in any way possible, and I love that here.
Yeah. And so what do you think are some of the hurdles or adjustments that someone coming from a big city is going to have to make to adjusting to Barbados life?
Listen, there's no drive-through coffee shops in Toronto. We have Tim Hortons, and I'm like, when I'm driving or I'm on the road and I'm tired, I'm like, I would just love to get a drive-through coffee and get a coffee right now, you know? And then you can go to the gas station and like it's not the same to get out my car, go on the gas station. That's one of the things. Another thing is things are a slower pace. So in the city, if I make a phone call to an admin office, I may get an answer the same day. Or they say, oh, if it's gonna be a week, it's gonna be a week, very likely. In the island, you're not necessarily, no one's giving you a time frame, and if they do, it's probably not going to be in that time frame.
Yeah.
So I definitely say slower pace. We're so used to having everything right now, our coffee included. So slower pace, not having those little conveniences. Shopping online, we love shopping. I love to get things the next day. You don't have that option. They don't ship here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Amazon doesn't deliver here. That kind of, you have to have like a third party. But the fact that we got so used to getting our items next day, those little luxuries, you know,
Yeah.
but we live without it.
You find ways
But I
to
think
make
those
up
are
for
the
it.
biggest adjustments so far and Uber Eats.
Oh, yeah, no, is there food delivery? There must be like a local food delivery version.
So Chefette, which is basically the McDonald's of Barbados, that's the best way I can summarize it. They have delivery, as does KFC, but Chefette's is top tier. Like,
Okay.
yeah, because they say they're coming in 30 minutes and they're here in like 10.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So Chefette and KFC deliver. You may find some local restaurants deliver within the region, but it's not like I can go on an app and there are 50 different options.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's great food, but it's not as like right now as it is in the bigger cities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so for someone thinking about moving, and he's like, I love the look of Barbados, I love the beaches, I want to be there, but they don't know anything else. Where would you advise them to start in terms of mapping out like which might be the best region or where to be centered? Because I think a lot of people, it's the overwhelm of like, how do I even begin to make this a reality can be quite a lot.
Yeah. That's the question I get a lot. People ask me all kinds of questions via my DM or email, whatever. And you're right, there is no there's the government's website for mapping things out, but I feel like once you come, or your landlord is going to put you onto somebody and that person going to put you onto somebody. So I just say make connections. So if you book somewhere on Airbnb, for example, don't communicate with your landlord just exclusively via Airbnb. Get to know them, because they're always going to be able to help somebody. They're going to connect you to somebody, and that person going to tell you something else. So it's getting started. I definitely say look for a place to stay, and then whoever you talk to is going to feed on from there, whatever questions you have.
Yeah.
And that's why your website is so great, because you guys are going to have a forum where people can come and ask questions across the entire Caribbean, which I think is so awesome.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing, as you say, like there's so much going on, but it's just like information sharing. It's not done in the same way that you and I normally would do it.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I'm curious about, so you have family there, so you kind of have connections, but a lot of people who are moving are from the US, they're like African Americans who've they don't have that family connection. Have you found it at all challenging to like make friends or network when it comes to work? Like how do you bridge that gap?
It hasn't been difficult to make friends. I think it's been difficult to make like-minded friends, because
Right.
I can have cousins, but it doesn't mean that we necessarily think the same. We can be age mates, but we have different mindsets or different likes and dislikes. So yes, in that way. However, my social media has gotten me a lot of
Okay.
friends from all over the world. Yeah. So I've had people reach out to me from like the UK, US, Canada. There's a province in Canada that I don't know anybody from. And she's like, I'm from Yukon. I'm like, what happens in Yukon, Canada? So social media has been great. What I tell people is like, whoever you find, just send a DM. Don't be shy to comment, hey girl, you look great. I'm also in the region, whatever, because you never know where that's gonna take you. So that's how it's been for me making friends. I have people that I've never met, and we talk almost every day. Say, hey girl, how are you? How's the island treating you? I'm like, girl, I'm good. How do you have everything you need? So social media. There's beauty
Yeah.
in it.
And how are you experiencing the whole digital nomad thing? Has it changed the vibe of the island at all? Are you noticing like an influx of European folk, or like what?
Oh yeah. So Barbados has always been incredibly I don't want to say touristy, because it depends on where you go.
Hang on,
Can you hear me?
yeah, you're saying
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
touristy in some ways.
Yeah, but it's always been like that. Now it's a bit different, because I think people who are here are a bit more comfortable because they're here for longer stays, based on what I've seen. There's a shift in the environment, but it's not because of people. It's mainly because of this virus going around.
Right.
Yeah, but there are people here for longer stays. I met some people in the grocery store who are looking for different things and stuff like that. So it's different, but it's not. I wouldn't contribute it to the longer stays. It's more so because of this disease that we are all trying to avoid.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And so what's your long-term plan? Like what are you planning to settle there? And if so, what will you do?
Um,
I'm getting all up in your
Ideally, yes.
business now.
I wouldn't be going back to Toronto. um, but I think for me, it's more so like home ownership and just having a good time and giving back any way possible. Ideally for me, I would want to be giving more than I'm taking, and primarily to youth who just are like looking to find their way or don't have access to the same resources as a Canadian child would, or as a Canadian youth like myself had access to. If I can provide those and extend that same level of resource or grace or whatever it is to youth and give back, because the youth are they're making tomorrow actually. So if I can be of any assistance to them whatsoever, that would be what my future would look like. And plus, I could be like what do you call that on Airbnb? A super host.
Okay. So do you
I
have
have super host goals.
Do you have property that you rent out now?
Not yet.
Okay, I was gonna like put the link in the show notes so people could like hit you up. But no, I think that's a great plan. And I love what you say about giving back, because I think that's one of the things. The Caribbean can be such a beautiful place to like relax, and the beaches. And I think it's really easy to be there and ignore the poverty and inequality, but to recognize that you kind of have a responsibility to use your privilege to help other people, I think is really, that mindset is so important, I think.
Right. The people make it great. So it would be unfair of me to be coming and taking and just like soaking it all up without leaving something behind.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that I've had a lot of inquiries about is schooling. How do you find schooling in the Caribbean? What's your experience like in Barbados, and how would you say it compares to what's on offer in Canada?
Well, my son is he's being schooled virtually.
Oh, wow.
So he's still connected so he's still connected because Canada shut down.
Right.
So all the kids are on virtual. But in the past, when I was looking at the schooling, again, so much family and teachers and principals. So I was blessed to have, I guess, a kind of a homeschool in place. However, the curriculum is so much better than it is in North America. The kids are in uniform at like 3.
Wow.
Yeah. It's one of the best educational systems, especially if you compare it to Canada. Like they can take notes from here, and it's just so unfortunate that people look down like, oh my God, Caribbean or whatever. When in reality, the education is so much better and richer than it is where I'm from. So it's pretty straightforward to get your kid into. If you have a child and they want to come to school here, you just pay like a student visa fee. And then they would answer all your questions there, but I don't want to say anything wrong. So the Ministry of Education will answer everything for you. You just gotta get a student visa and everything will go from there.
Right. And so if you were to settle full time, would you put your child in public school, or would you pay for private school? Like, how wide are the options available?
You can get private school or public school, but based on how my son learns, I would more so go with private or even a homeschool education, because I find his learning is different from everybody else's. Therefore, I wouldn't put him in public school. But there's nothing wrong with public education is great.
Yeah. I love it. And so before we wrap up, what advice would you give to someone looking to move to Barbados, and how would you sell? I mean, you probably don't even need to at all, but how would you sell the like pros of the island to someone who's kind of on the fence, like, oh, should I go there? Should I go elsewhere? What would you say?
My goodness, moving to Barbados, I would just say fear not. Like, you are gonna meet great people. Everything you need is here, with the exception of Tim Hortons or like convenient drive-throughs, but you'll get by. Some of the pros on the island, of course, the people make it great. Somebody is always willing to help you. I think that Barbados is known to be expensive, but there's something for everybody. So don't come into it thinking I'm not gonna be able to afford it. Look around, shop around, compare. Don't be afraid to compare rates, because you see the rate for your rent, you're telling yourself, oh my God, it's way too high. But if you start a conversation or ask somebody or ask the same landlord, is there anything you can do? Just start and get it done. But the sea is great, the food is fresh, the people are lovely, and the men and women are beautiful.
Yeah, all of that. Oh, that's amazing. I really love talking to you. And I just think, for me, I think Barbados if you're looking to move to the Caribbean and you don't want to adjust too much from what you're used to back home, Barbados seems ideal. Like just in terms of the
Yeah,
amount of shops on offer,
exactly.
the fact that decent service isn't like some sort of mythical thing. Barbados seems like much less of an adjustment than like Grenada might be, which is way smaller and way slower. So yeah, I'm sure you're
What
gonna.
what I tell people too is like once you're in one Caribbean island, traveling to the other is not difficult.
Mm,
And just because you come to Barbados for a year doesn't mean you have to. No one's telling you you have to stay this entire year. Try
yeah.
it out. Give it 2-3 months. Try it out. Go to, if you're working from home, you can go to Grenada for a month. You can go to St. Lucia for a month. You can. I definitely encourage regional travel so much.
Right. And that's the thing. Would you advise people to get the nomad visa?
Um, I
It's a
want to
tough
say
one.
yes.
You want the tax dollars, don't you?
Yeah. I want to encourage. I want to help the government. But I was talking to somebody from the UK. She reached out to me because she saw one of my videos on YouTube, and shameless plug.
It's going to be in the notes, don't worry.
And she was like, "I'm thinking about getting the visa. I really want to do it, but I've never been there. I don't know anybody." And I'm like, "Girl, come. You can travel. You can come for 3 months. Like that's totally legal. Come, fill it out, see how you feel."
Yeah.
And if you tell yourself, you know what, yes, I definitely want to come for a year, then by all means, you have a year and 3 months because you're already here for those 3 months. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You
And
don't
I
have to
think
lock yourself in.
from the UK, I think it's 6 months. I think it's 180 days. So even
Right.
longer, I
So
think.
you
So,
come for 6. If you're working from home, there's nothing wrong with coming for 6 months. I mean, I know people have their bills at home. So at least come for a month, 2 months. I wouldn't advise anybody to come for like a week in these times, especially. But feel it out.
yeah.
Feel it out.
Oh, exciting. I can see you getting totally hit up by people like, I'm doing it. How can I meet you for coffee? And yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I've
exciting.
I've spoken to so many people from all over the world, and I'm always like, come and try for yourself because I mean I'm biased because I love, you know what I mean. So I'm always gonna say it's so awesome, but try it for
Right.
yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for being so generous with your time. Do you want to just say
Then
your YouTube details so people can find it, but I'll put it in the notes as well?
definitely. So the purpose of my channel is to always promote the culture, give back in any way possible, and I dedicated my channel to being a bridge between the outside world and Barbados, which provides everything you need to know with moving to the island. So it's So Well Jess, because my name is Jessyca. So So Well WLL, and then Jess, like dress, but Jess. So JESSED. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to answer any questions. I get DMs from everybody. Um, Here to answer any questions about your move or anything you need to know about Barbados. Recently, I was like looking at passport information for somebody from a different continent. So whatever you need, I'm here for, and that's what my channel is for.
Nice. And